I welcome you for the lecture series in the course Production Technology. So in today's world, we use lot of components for construction, automobile, everything. So all the parts are produced through various manufacturing process. The initial and mother of manufacturing process is nothing but casting, and it is done in foundry. So let us see what is a foundry and how it works, and what are all the things associated in foundry. So it's the arts and science of manufacturing metal parts through casting. So what is casting? Casting is a process of making a mold and pouring the metal, molten metal into the mold. So we have certain elements called iron, aluminum in earth elements. All these elements are being taken from its ore, and it is being processed, and it is being melted in a furnace, and it is being transferred to the mold where the required shape and components are produced. So it involves pouring metal into the molds, creating intricate and durable components. And let us see the foundry materials and processes. So number one is alloy selection. Number two is melting and pouring. Number three is cooling and solidification. So whenever we choose a component for casting, we have to choose the right alloy or the metal that has to be melted and poured. The requirement is based on the strength, durability, and performance, and requirement is made of the material properties that is required for the application. So the alloy selection is very important when you go for melting process. So number two is melting and pouring. So the temperatures, every metal has melting temperature and every metal has pouring temperature. So we have to maintain a precise melting temperature and as well as the pouring temperature throughout the process. So changes in the pouring temperatures can cause some certain defects in casting that reduces the yield of the process. Third one is cooling and solidification. So the material which is poured into the molten cavity has to take its own time of cooling and solidification. So we have learned all the triple T diagrams, temperature transition diagrams, where the molten metal is allowed to cool and various structures are formed in the cooling process. So mold design and preparation. Number one is pattern. What is pattern? Pattern is the replica of the model, and mold preparation is nothing but you have to get the exact size of the component through the drawing, and it has to be created in the patent, and this patent has to be placed in the cope and drag box, ramming the sand, and we will get the mold. So gating and venting is nothing but preparing the pathway of the for the molten metal to flow into the mold so that it fills the mold cavity and releases air pockets. Melting and pouring techniques, we have three kind of techniques here. One is furnace preparation. So foundry furnaces must be carefully calibrated because the temperature has to be maintained to melt the metal. Next one is charge calculation. So the amount of material that is deposited in the ladle. So here we can see a ladle here. So this ladle has a capacity. More the molten metal is not permitted, less the molten metal is not permitted. So there is a tonnage of molten metal it has to be filled. And there is the third technique is pouring control. So whenever the molten metal is melted in this ladle, and it has to be poured properly with the help of skilled labor to avoid turbulence while pouring the metal, and it has to uh, go consistently in the pathway to fill the mold cavity. So the major quality control and inspection is dimensional accuracy. As per the drawing devised by the designer, we have to prepare precise mold design and manufacture the same with the cast parts. The next one is microstructure analysis. So any part dimensions are very important for microstructures, and this microstructure, when it changes, the property of the material changes. So the next part is non-destructive testing. We have two types, destructive and non-destructive testing. Like X-ray, ultrasound, we have to investigate all the subsurface defects as well as surface defects. Final inspection is carried out to see whether there is any mold inclusion and it is ready for assembly. So safety and environmental conditions, you have to wear personal protective equipment since you are dealing with higher temperatures and hot molten metals. So air quality control is very important. Usually foundry is a dusty environment where the sand which is being baked will flow through all the environment, and waste handling is very important. So effective waste handling and disposal procedures has to be followed to avoid environmental impact. So I hope you all understood what is Foundry and what are the Foundry practices that has to be followed meticulously to get a quality casting. So in Coimbatore is the Manchester of Tamil Nadu, where more number of manufacturing sectors that relies on Foundry is in Coimbatore. So a lot of opportunities are there, and let us explore various techniques in depth in the next lecture series. I thank you for your patience listening. Thank you.